there's a lot of pumpkin in there.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another momtober video. What's happening? Today's video is going to be a nice, we got cozy vibes going on, okay? I have my pumpkin colored sweatshirt on, bumming around. You know, it's just one of those days drinking some hot tea. So I have 4 different pumpkin baked goods recipes for you guys today. Number 1, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. Hands down, the best recipe I've ever tried, and I have tried it several times and a couple of different recipes. This one is just the absolute best one, so happy to share this with you. If you guys enjoy videos like these, definitely give this a thumbs up. I know you guys are constantly, Sydney is being wild and crazy over there. You guys are constantly asking for different recipes and cook with me videos, so I thought I did a video like this last year in Momtober where I baked and cooked 4 different pumpkin recipes, so I figured I would do another version this year and just kind of include some unique items. So I hope you guys enjoy the video and get some wonderful ideas to bake for your family, and yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so the first recipe I have, let's just get it out of the way. We are talking about our pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. You guys, this is the best recipe. I've made it a couple of different times already this season. They're like moist, soft, kind of like a muffin, kind of like a spongy, they're just delicious. They're soft cookies, they're not crunchy. I don't even know if you can make crunchy pumpkin cookies, but it just doesn't even make sense to me. I know a lot of people said they might not love pumpkin-y things, but they love the pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. So if you've never made them, you gotta try this recipe. Sydney enjoyed helping me make these cookies a few times.
Oh, there's a lot of pumpkin in there.
Yeah. And the recipe goes as follows. So 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1 cup of pumpkin puree, plain pumpkin, a cup of oil. I used vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and 1 egg. And then you'll beat all of that together until it is nice and combined.
Baby, hold your hand a little while. Somehow I know you're gonna be the girl that I'll end up calling my own.
In a separate bowl, combine 2 cups flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt. And then in a separate bowl, you will mix 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon milk and dissolve those 2 together. And then I poured the baking soda mixture right into the wet ingredients and then slowly add the dry ingredients while you are beating everything together until everything is incorporated. And then I added about 1 cup, maybe 2, I don't know. I eyeballed it on the milk chocolate chips. And then I dropped them on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, and I just used an ice cream scoop because I like big cookies, but you can totally use teaspoon, tablespoon, however big or small you'd like. And I baked them on 375 degrees, and they took about 15 minutes. You check them with a knife or like a toothpick or something to make sure it comes out clean, and then you know they're done.
Can't get enough of this. Being with you is like never-ending sunshine. Feels like
So the next recipe we are diving into is sort of unique. I found this on Pinterest. I thought that it looked really good and it was really unique. I had never seen anything like this before, and you can do different variations. You don't have to just do pumpkin, but this one is a pumpkin maple Pop-Tart. So it's a homemade Pop-Tart, and I thought that was really cool. One thing I will say is I'm not a huge pumpkin pie fan, and this definitely was like a pumpkin pie filling kind of texture thing. So if you're not a pumpkin pie fan, maybe you should try this with apple or a different flavor. But if you are a pumpkin pie fan, you'll probably absolutely love this. So the first thing you do for the Pop-Tarts is heat up the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and then also thaw your pie dough. In a bowl, combine half a cup of pumpkin puree, 3 tablespoons of packed brown sugar, a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a 1/4 teaspoon pumpkin pie spice. It does call for 1 teaspoon pure maple syrup, and then you mix everything all together. Next is time to roll out and cut your rectangles from your pie dough. You have to roll the pie dough pretty thin. I obviously used flour and my rolling pin to make sure nothing's stuck, but the goal is to get about 8 even rectangles and just eyeball it. Mine came out so rustic looking, but who cares? They look homemade that way. I lined a cookie sheet with parchment paper and then placed 4 rectangles down, and then about a tablespoon or a little bit more, mine was pretty overflowing, but about a tablespoon of the pie filling in the center of the rectangle and kind of spread them out a little bit. And then you're going to take the second rectangle and essentially close it all in, and making sure that there's like a little bit of a gap on the edges so that we can use a fork and press the 2 rectangle pie crusts together. Sorry, I'm not very good at describing things, but you definitely see what I'm doing there, right? So half of them looked like a disaster, very rustic looking, but that's okay. Then you bake them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and now it's time to work on the glaze. So we have a half a cup of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, 1 tablespoon of milk, and then I added a little bit of pumpkin pie seasoning. You can add cinnamon or no seasonings whatsoever. Just be careful when you're putting the glaze on them because the pie crust is fairly fragile and kind of broke apart on me. Is pumpkin butter. I found this recipe, and there are hundreds, there are so many different pumpkin butter recipes out there, but I wanted to do this one because it is so easy. It's like brainless, easy. You can use pumpkin butter on so many different things. I tried it on some caramel rice cakes and it was so good that way. You can try it on apples, waffles, English muffins, anything you can think of, and it is so good. It definitely is sweet, and it's more of like a thick consistency. It's just so delicious, and I thought it was something very unique that I had never tried before that you can use. It's a spread that will stay in your fridge for like up to 2 weeks, I think it was, as long as you have it in an airtight container, and it's just kind of something unique and different. Sydney, of course, loved it. It's sugar. It's delicious. In a saucepan, you're going to combine 1 cup brown sugar, 1 can of pumpkin puree, and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. And you're going to cook that in a saucepan over medium-high heat for about 20 minutes. And it says stirring occasionally, but I felt like I had to stir it constantly because it was a very viscous, like thick consistency, and the bubbles and the air bubbles kept dropping. Anyway, I was stirring it kind of constantly. And then after the 20 minutes, you are going to reduce the heat to a medium low and cook for another 20 minutes, so 40 minutes total. And it's going to start turning this nice, thick, rich kind of golden brown color. It looked so glossy and delicious. And I just stored it in a mason jar. And once it cooled down, I put the lid on top and am just leaving it in my fridge.
Your high heels on, and I'm wearing my worn out jeans.
The next recipe we are talking about is like very, very close runner with the pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. These were pumpkin cream cheese with a pecan streusel on top muffins. You guys, they're so good. I actually made them today. Oh my word, instead of making like a plain old pumpkin muffin, you have to try them with a cream cheese swirl. They are so good. I like just literally want to eat them all day with hot tea, and just Sydney and I ate them straight out of the oven, and they're so good warm. I definitely had another one when it was cooled down, and they were good as well. But yeah, eat them straight out of the oven or in the microwave. Oh, I'm just dying over this recipe. I hope you guys enjoy it. I even messed up a little bit on the recipe, and they came out just fine. So you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and then the first step is to combine 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar all in one bowl, and cream that all together. This is where I made a mistake. I accidentally added too much vanilla, so yours won't look as runny as mine. In a separate bowl, we are making the streusel topping with 4.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 5 tablespoons of white sugar, 3/4 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, about 3 tablespoons of chopped pecans. I just kind of broke them up and eyeballed it myself. And then 3 tablespoons of butter. I let it come to room temperature. And then you are going to basically cut in the butter with the sugar mixture and kind of combine everything until it's like a sandy, grainy texture. In a third separate bowl, you're going to combine 2.5 cups flour, 2 cups sugar, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 2 teaspoons ground cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and you're going to sift those all together. My sugar had a lot of lumps, so I'm very, very glad that I sifted everything together. And then you're going to create a little well where you're going to place some wet ingredients. 2 eggs, 1 1/3 cup canned pumpkin, 1/3 cup vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, and you're going to mix all of those ingredients together. Okay, so assembly time. I lined my muffin tins with some just like cupcake liners. You can grease them if you want, or do the cupcake liners. And then fill with the pumpkin mix. You're gonna fill the muffin tins halfway full. And then you're gonna top it with a dollop of the cream cheese mixture right in the center. And then you're gonna top it with a little bit of the streusel. And then bake it for mine took about 25 minutes. It says anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes to cook.
What could go wrong? Sipping on a beer, sing along to our favorite songs. All I want is you. You make my world spin round and round.
Alright you guys, so those are the 4 pumpkin baked good recipes I had for you in this video. Don't worry, I have so many more recipes and baked goods coming soon. And I know you guys did request some apple recipes as well, so I will be working hard behind the scenes on those. I will link my last year's recipe down in the description box below so that you can have even more recipes to go to. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!